Investigados por el carrusel de la contratación en Bogotá.
Throughout the history, we have witnessed great moments that were unique and unforgettable, in which the impossible became real. Those moments in which peace, freedom, and justice were the highest priority, and the world moved in favor of these. And yes, catastrophes, injustice, and the tears of an innocent when commanded. Those affected by a foreign war and poverty as a consequence of the life of a government have never been lacking. But it's precisely for these reasons that justice has been always and will be the most important word in our vocabulary.
Although the concept that is applied to this word is of moral principle that inclines to act and judge respecting the truth and giving each one what is his due, when we focus on the real world and their needs, we understand that more than a word, it is a motor in life. That only through this there can be a true coexistence, a community or society. Because what kind of world would we live in if there were no consequences for people who have committed crimes? If for every death in the world there was no responsible person who has to answer before the law? If the rights were violated and there is no way to enforce respect and condemn those who violate them. A world without a balance that regulates our actions, duties, and consequences, is only a territory occupied by a group of people that eventually end up destroying each other. Justice is not giving or giving things to humanity, but knowing how to decide who owns it by right. Justice is ethical, fair, and honest. It is the constant will to give to each one what is his or that feeling of rectitude that governs the conduct and only observes all the rights of others.
However, it is a fact that even though there are systems of government around the world implemented to act in favor and to ensure that there is true justice in each nation, there are always several cases that show their ineffectiveness. In the case of Colombia, there are different factors that influence this, which are what the law of our constitution establishes and make us wonder, is there really justice in Colombia? Odebrecht, Reficar, school cartoons, Interbolsa, the Guajira, the poster of diapers, the carousel of Harren and Escobar are some of the terms that just mentioned that are directly related to our honorable Colombian government. Serious cases of corruption carried out by those characters who will have to seek to stop these acts by the position, the function that they occupy in the country.
We are in a reality in which the most important figures of the nation are the most responsible for the different crises and problems that have arisen in the country throughout all these years. Those responsible for malnutrition and hunger in the Guajira, the lousy health system, violence, social and economic inequality, and the unfortunate habit that has acquired the Colombian to accept the unfair by considering that there is no way to demonstrate otherwise.
Colombia is a country with a large amount of inequality and wrong distribution of power, resources, and land. This automatically causes a lot of injustice existing as well. One of the main concerns is about corruption. According to a report from 2017 made by Transparency International, an organization that fights corruption, Colombia is ranked as one of the worst countries in Latin America when it comes to corruption. Colombia, joined by other countries such as Mexico and Venezuela, had negative results in different indicators. For instance, bribery and corrupt police officers. Due to the fact that this survey was filled out by more than 22,000 people, we can clearly use this as a wake-up call. The corrupt society must go. Although the most recent peace agreement is intended to lay the foundations to this equal and fair society, in order to achieve this, action must be made.
We are all aware of what is happening. We know of the things that those officials comment, and even so, we proceed to let ourselves be influenced by their lies and deceptions. If we are aware of the truth, why do we ignore it? Why do we allow the law to be managed and manipulated, all at the convenience of those who have the power? While corruption remains the HIV of our society, the main promoter of social, political, and economic stagnation, we can never consider that the peace really exists in Colombia, because as long as those responsible and guilty continue to walk the streets, taking decisions in the Congress, and representing the country in other parts, we will have lived under a deception in which a critical and unacceptable situation is passed through the concept of justice. For this to really exist, it is necessary that the Colombian system works, that the sanctions are safe and imperturbable, that the social or economic position does not refine if you are more or less than a common individual before the law, that the courts function effectively and so that a single process does not take more than the expected time, that the crimes do not accumulate to finally be forgotten and absolved, and that the Colombian is really aware that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.